Hey everybody, welcome to the Modern Life Insurance Hacks. And today we are going to be talking about our flagship offer, which is Agent Ignite. Agent Ignite is an amazing tool, and it's an amazing, I'm not exaggerating or it's not hyperbolic, it's literally the truth. And I just did uh, some touches, and now it's on version 2. And basically, I was waiting for it to gain some momentum so that I can get the version 2 on track. So if you are going to be part of the founding fathers, then you are in luck because basically you are getting the version 2 straight from the start. Now, before I go any further, I would love to have your attention, and I want to ask you for a favor. If you think you can't finish this video until the end, which should be around 20 to 30 minutes, please make sure to close it now and then go back to it later when you have the time to listen to it, because it really, really matters. And I want you to win, and this will help you win. I am so positive about it. So, what is the problem that we see in the markets? The main issue that we have in the market is that 10 to 20% are making over 100K, but the majority, 80 from 0 to 80% of the market of the agent out there, which is the majority of agents, are making, I think the average mean, yeah, are making around $62,000 to $67,000 a year. That's the average income inside the life insurance industry that was reported on 2024, I believe, the statistics that I checked. Now, if you can't say hit over 100K, then it's not your fault. And I want you to understand that and be conscious about that. You were not trained to become a marketer. You were trained to be a salesman, a killer. And there is a huge difference between a marketer and a salesman. There are different skills set that a marketer needs to have, and there are different skill sets that a salesman needs to have. And since most agents are focused and they need to close the next sales in the list, then all their attention is driven to close sales and to get that sales happen. What happened by doing this is that we ignore the marketing aspect, and when you ignore the marketing and you only focus on sales, your pipeline, it's like you are in a desperate mode all the time because your pipeline is pretty much inexistent. Now we want to make sure that we are solving this problem, and the way we are going to solve this problem is by using Agent Ignite, because it will kill all these issues for us. We don't need to be super marketers. Everything now is set for you, is built for you, so that you can just literally use your fingers, write something, and then you have exactly what you need. There is a huge difference now. There's a there is, in business, there are only three things that every single business on earth needs. Every single business on earth needs to have a lead generation system. Every single business on earth needs to have a fulfillment system, and every single business out there needs to have a follow-up and an upsell systems. These three systems, they contribute to turn any business from just a modest business into a 6, 7, even 8-figure business. And to be able to model after this fundamental, we want to we have now the ability to use Agent Ignite. So Agent Ignite is able to do all this in one shot. Of course, there are a lot of sub features, such as you need to hone in on your list, you need to build an audience, you need to build a brand. But all these also are included in Agent Ignite, because Agent Ignite is formed of three major components, which are a content delivery messaging system, a DM messaging system, and a diagnosis system. Underneath it, there are a lot of features, which counts to around 23 features, and these features, they represent some very powerful stuff, and I don't want to burn the bridges. So we're gonna have to wait until we get to the video where we talk about the component. But just want you to understand that everything basically you will need to generate a full marketing operation is now available at your fingertips. That's the bottom line of what is it that I want to make sure that we are agree on. If we know that we need these three systems, then underneath these three systems, there are some three core understandings that we want to make sure that because they are at the core of success for any business. The first thing is understanding exactly who is our audience is. Once we understand exactly who is our audience, not only we can go and build an audience based on that specific profile, but also we are able to go and start speaking to them and start delivering content that speaks to their pain. And at that point, everything is aligned and you have the right message to direct it to the right customer avatar using the right channels, and everything is matching and there is no misalignment. That's hugely important. The second thing that comes after that is the fact that we need to diversify our content, because not diversifying our content can create serious problems, can create fatigues, can create a what is it called? You know, they get people that your audience gets used to the same message, so it creates the fatigue and the convenience or whatever you call it, and this holds us back from growing. And the third element is to basically have a lead magnet system that can allow us to get people to raise their hands and say, hey, I'm interested in what you have to say. What was that about? Just by saying, hey, I'm interested in what you have to say, what was that about? We are activating a system that's called the leads. It's only and only at that point when somebody raises their hand and ask you a question, it's at that moment where they turn from just a simple name on your list into a real lead, because we know for a fact that that person has that need, it has that pain, and it's only a matter of time before we turn that need and that pain into a real closing and into sales. Make sense? So with that being said, I'm going to jump into sharing with you the going over a demo into AgentIgnite, and then once we finish the demo, I'm going to close this video and we're gonna open another video where I'm only going to cover the different components and also how to command those components. Sounds good? All right. Okay. All right. So the first thing first, it's so easy to the way we go about doing this is that before we even start our content strategy, we take time and we tap into Claude or any AI out there. We fill up a specific form that I will provide you, and then we have, based on that form, we go ahead and we develop a list of pain points that we know for a fact our dream customers has. And I'll go to give you an example. Don't worry, you're gonna see everything in a minute. Once we have those pain points, we can go directly and say, just click this, repurpose to LinkedIn, and you can write the issue, the topic that you want to talk about, why most agents will never hit 100K. And then you have a core idea, you have the content mode, which is a belief shifting mode. By the way, there are four major that I feed this system, four major types of content. It's value, it's lead generation, it's belief shifting, it's results and testimonials and stuff like that. So these are the four kind of content that you can create because they represent the normal evolution into the psyche plus the lifestyle into the psyche of an audience. And as you can see here, I have a post that speaks exactly to my audience. And not only that, this post is calibrated in a way that speaks in my voice. It uses the exact same way that I treat, that I speak and that I write. And that's powerful because if your audience knows you and they got used to you for some times, they know for how you write. And this system allowed you to not just spend hours upon hours. This may take less than 5 minutes, and then you have a post that is ready on a daily basis to deliver to your audience. That's the first one. So I would like to give you a second example so that just so you can have an idea of how this things works also. So the second example is this one here. And you can see here, repurpose to LinkedIn again. Why cold calling is killing your credibility with younger clients. And see again, it speaks, it gives us, this is a type, belief shifting type, and the core idea is right here. So it says cold calling a 32-year-old prospect is not just ineffective, it's actively telling them you are not the kind of advisor they want. Think about it. The millennial or Gen Z buyers does does not wait for someone to call them. They Google, they scroll, they check LinkedIn. By the time they are ready to speak to an advisor, they already have a short list. And here's the thing. So I'm not gonna waste time but you get the point how this is powerful. The third post that I did is repurpose. So why posting one form of content without researching, building audience is likely going to flop. And you can see this is powerful, very, very powerful, because it speaks to the core of what agents are struggling with. This is the kind of post I need to deliver to my audience because this is for me, for my audience. So you get the gist. That's really, really powerful. And as I mentioned, it has so many features that comes within it that we can't even mention right now because they are 23 plus 23 features. Then I will talk about them in details later on. But it's respect. For example, you're gonna tell me what is it that's so special? Well, it's respect the compliance FINRA, the FINRA compliance. That's something that is very powerful. It's respect it respects the kind of types of posts that you want to deliver. It helps build the bonds and the trust and the likability. So it does a lot of things. The second thing that I want to share with you is the power of DMing your dream avatar. And this is a deep and a very hard task to do, is because people, if you have ever messaged anybody, it's very hard to get people to respond to our messages. And the way we do it, for example, I did an experiment, and I chose my dream customer. I'm sorry, my dream customer are roofers. As you can see here, ideal customer profile are the roofers. So I said one full ICP deep dive for roofers who wants to buy a policy to cover their families. So I decided to do this as if I was an agent, just so I see for myself if this tool is powerful. And fair enough, this tool really delivers every single thing that you need. The first thing that we did is to basically first understand exactly who is our dream customer and what are their deep pain points. And before we go further into trying to reach out to them, we started by doing since it's not, I haven't normally if it was your if it was yours, then you would already have all this information fed into the system. But because this is an experiment, I had to feed the AgentIgnite all this information. So the first thing that it asked me, which geography are you targeting for this roofer niche? Who exactly with the roofing world are you targeting? What's the income sweet spot? The roofer who has money to invest in a policy but isn't already over-insured. Where does this roofer spend time online? What's the family situation that makes a roofer the right fit, the trigger that makes them think about coverage? Any other targeting details, specific association, forums, trade, shows, nuances I should know about. So if you happen to have, for example, don't go, all of you do use the roofers, it's going to be saturated already. So just leave it alone. You can find there are 4,000. I can, once you get the tool, I can hook you up with 4,000 plus niche that you can choose from. Once you, if you choose your niche, then obviously you know exactly what kind of problem these people have, and you know exactly where do they go in terms of the forums, the associations, and stuff like that. And step two, what it did, it asked me part two of the ICP. It goes one step further into asking me more specific questions. And you can see here, what insurance or financial product does a roofer in this bracket already have or think they have covered? How has a roofer like this typically been approached about life insurance before finding you? Who else is targeting roofers or blue collars trades with life insurance? Any names or brand you are competing against? What's the number one reason a roofer in this bracket hasn't bought a policy yet? The most common excuses you've heard. Have you already sold to roofers, or is this a new niche you are building into? And you can see this, these are very specific questions. And the part three of the ICP deep dive is the psychographics. And here it goes deep into asking psychographics questions. For example, what does the roofers actually say when the topic of life insurance comes up? Use their real words if you can. So you can see already that we are tapping into the scenarios that the dream customers are already speaking their mind and saying to themselves. Second, what does the roofer think is the reason they haven't bought a policy? Their surface level excuses. What do you know as the expert is the real problem, the thing they can't see? What's the hell consequence? What happens to this family if he falls off a roof tomorrow with no policy in place? What does this roofer actually want? His magic wand outcome in his own terms. Tell me about a roofer you've worked with. What was their situation? What made them finally buy? And what changed after? What kind of roofers is a nightmare client? The one you reach out, the one your outreach should actively repel. If we know that our marketing should be based on attraction, attract and repel, then this makes a lot of sense, and we want to make sure that we are covering this part. What does this roofer secretly embarrassed or ashamed about? The thing he never say out loud but quietly carries. Now that we have everything done, and look at what the AgentIgnite gave me. All three parts complete, generating the full roofer ICP profile. Now, a roofer ICP completes. I can download it. The work on compensation gap, the trigger questions. This is a Facebook. So now I can download it. And now what I can do is now I can start sending a DM sequence that speaks exactly to the pain point of what that roofer is probably having troubles with. Because at the very beginning, I chose already which kind of roofer I want to speak to. And I chose, for example, I want to speak to roofers who make between 70K and 120K. For example, why does it matter? Because 70 to 100, they have the funds to add another expense to their life. But if they make less than $70,000, they have already a lot of overhead. They already have people working with them. They have payments. They have a lot of stuff. So 70, 120 seems to me as if the right sweet spot. What this does is that it prepares us to send the first message. And for example, here's the first message. I speak to a lot of guys in trades. One thing keeps coming up. I know I should have something in place for my family. I just haven't gotten around it yet. Out of curiosity, does that sound familiar at all? No agenda here, just a genuine questions. So what we're doing here, we are literally just trying to get a response. It doesn't matter what kind of response. We want just to get a response from this roofer. And we are very gentle. We are very soft. We haven't gone any. We just asking them questions. In message number two, only sent after the reply. If they reply, we deliver a value, and this where the work starts. Once they reply, say, "Oh yes, I have this, I do this, I got, they start complaining about this and that." Say, fine, that's awesome. Now we're going to lead with value immediately, and the way we're gonna do it, we're gonna say something around, "Appreciate you being real about that. Honestly, most people in your position feel exactly the same way. I put together a short guide specifically for guys in the trades. It covers one thing most roofers don't realize until it's too late. Workers' compensation does a lot of things, but it does not write your family a check if you're gone. There is a coverage gap that most people only find out about after the fact. It's a quick read, no fluff, no pitch. Attach the coverage gap, three things workers' compensation won't pay for. Let me know if it hands, if it lands." Now we are leading with value. Now the roofer that we are going to send this message to, they're gonna open the document, they're gonna read it, and they're gonna have an epiphany. They're gonna have a realization that their loved ones are not insured enough. And this is where the turnaround happened. This is where people think differently and say, "Oh, something is missing. I need to find out more." Once they return they respond to this message. Now we move into the serious work. Only sent after they engage with the guide, not a call, another pitch, just a next step. What we are doing here, this is very powerful. We are sending them a questionnaire and we are asking them to answer. It's between a questionnaire between 5 and 7 questions, and we are asking them to answer these questions. And what we are doing by making them answer questions first, we are leading with the problems that they are telling us they have. We are not inventing anything out of our mind. We wait until they respond. Let me read first and I'll explain, go over this again. Here is where I'd like to get to. I want to be upfront about it. Not a sales call, not a presentation, just a short questionnaire, because what makes sense for one roofer won't necessarily make sense for another. Your income, your family setup, how long you've been doing this, it all changes what the right option actually looks like. If you fill in a quick questionnaire, questions, I can come back to you with something that genuinely fits your situation, not a generic quote, something specific to you. No obligation. If what I come back with doesn't make sense, you tell me and we move on. Would you be open to it, Eunice? Now we are sending a questionnaire and we are enticing them to fill that questionnaire, because we are not just going straight to the kill. "Hey, by the way, you want to buy life insurance? Come join me. Are you available tomorrow? Let's find out. And let me get you something that will fit your family," and blah, blah, blah. All that we don't move with trying to read in their mind. We move because we are basing all our action based on what they tell us. And we wait for them until they answer our questionnaire. Once they do that, then we can lead with the right rebuttal, and we can offer them something that they themselves articulate as being the main pain that they have. And at that point, they literally have no choice but to say, "Yes, I do have that problem. How can I solve it?" And at that point, it makes absolutely no sense. Inviting them into a sales call makes completely perfect sense. Do you see what I mean? So this is really powerful. I hope that I can scream more to make a point. And the third element of what Agent Ignite is capable of doing is a diagnosis. And this is something that may seem at first hand like it's something that it's not really important. But believe me, when you start building system and you want to make sure that you are trying to uh, grow and you don't know where the problem is, you will be stuck and you will move from one thing to another before you even know if what you already tried is working or not. The way we work on that is by filling up. There are on a daily basis, we fill up 8 major KPI, key performance indicator metrics. We fill them up on a daily basis, and we give them to AgentIgnite AI. By the end of the week, we tell them, okay, AgentIgnite, can you run, for example, weekly KPI? Look what I did here. Weekly KPI diagnosis, connection sent 51. I fill up this. I just ran a test to see how he going to behave, and this is what it gives me. Connection sent 5100, acceptance sent 20%, reply rates 10%, calls book 0, content posting yes 3-5 times. Okay, so this is what it gives me. This is the diagnosis. So connection sent 15 to 100, connection sent. Acceptance rate below between 10 and 20%. Reply rate below 10%. Calls booked 0. Content posted 3 to 5 times. Now the diagnosis, the primary leak that we need to fix before anything else is we want to make sure that the value DM is not. We think that what it says here is that the DM seems like it's not landing. With the reply rate under 10%, the message people are receiving after connecting is not compelling enough to act on. The resource on the angle, or the angle isn't speaking directly to the pain they feel today. They read it, they move on. This is the one thing blocking every call, every client, every result downstream. Because everything after reply is human and manageable, without the reply, the whole system stalls. So it tells you exactly where the problem is and how we're gonna fix it. The second thing is the acceptance rate. We need to work on it. The third thing, he gives us a check mark. Content is good, no problem there. So it says connection accepted, replied, call booked. And here, what it does, it gives us a complete different script on how to go and DM our audience so that we can try different things until we find what really resonates and what performs best. And here I want to take a moment and just share with you this. Most people, doesn't matter what industry you are, if you are in sales, what they do is they jump into one thing, they try it, it doesn't work, then they move on into the next thing. And the way we do this is that we fill up, it's like we have a horizontal line of KPI that move all together. And then every day we go and we check one single KPI at a time. Once we enhance it and it starts performing, then we move into the next one 1 week at a time. We move into the next one. We fix it and we move on until we have the whole 8 KPI are performing at their best. And at that time, once they're working and they're performing at their best, we can start going back, enhancing them and tweaking them. And eventually we start getting even better results over and over and over until unlimited. So this is how this AgentIgnite is able to help you solve your problems and to help you turn your business around, not just by guessing, not just by cold calling, not just by asking for referrals and waiting. No, we want to be proactive. We want to build a business. And the way we build a business is by having a lead generation system. And the way we do a lead generation system is by having a content that speaks to the right people with the right pain. And the way we do the right pains, the content that speaks to the right people with the right pain, is by using AgentIgnite, who is set up and built to respond to the exact system that you need. So it's a chain of action. I already did a post last week about this called the chain of action. And this is basically, it's no-brainer, and it makes perfect sense once once everything is set and you have a running engine for you that can do the marketing job. Basically, this is just part one, and in part two I will lay down the different features that the components that this plugin has and how to activate them and all that good stuff. But I want you to really think about it. If you haven't been able, if you've been stalled and you haven't been able to grow beyond a certain level income, then there is a reason for that. And what brought you to where you are is not necessarily what's going to allow you to get where you want to be. And this system, I know for a fact, is going to help you. Right now it's for in the launch phase, and it's already has uh, the version 2 included in it. So you will have a what is that? You will have, wait a minute, what you will have included. You will have you will have a FINRA content, compliance content. So you don't need to worry about, once you start delivering content, you don't need to worry about if the content is working or not. That's very important. That's what we're gonna see right now in a few minutes. You will have a lead qualification scorecard. So once you build your audience, once you have the right audience, you start building connection with them. You want to make sure that you are delivering, as I speak about it earlier, delivering a questionnaire, and the scorecard questionnaire is the game changer. So it's included, and you want to have a what is it called? And you want to have a psychology driven content framework. Not only we are delivering content, different style of content and a different format that is compliant, but it has already it was fed with the right psychological driven content framework, so that you can is based on a book that was written in 1922, and we'll talk more about it. But it's all about belief shifting playbook, emotion map, memory principle. There is a lot of things that goes into that. So I want you to really think about it. If you like it, please go ahead. You have all the information below. If you want the link to purchase it right now, you can purchase it and join me on LinkedIn. I'll send you all the information. If you want to know more about the details and how this works, you can check the sales page. It's also included below. All right. So with that being said, I'll stop right here just so I don't make it too long. And I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to watch it. Bye bye.